Okay, I'm going to start solving all these problems from the Chapter 3 celebration, and that way if you study all these solutions, maybe you can do a little bit better on the next celebration. Alright, so the first one, of course all you do there, you want to get the x by itself, so subtract 7, so that'll cancel out, and so x equals 4. Number 2, what you want to do there is add 12, because you want to get the b by itself. So you add 12, that'll cancel out, so b equals 7. Okay. Next one, so you can pause, rewind if I go fast for you. The next one, you really want to get the 9/7 gone there, so what we do is we multiply by the reciprocal. So we multiply by 7/9. That's going to cancel out the 7 and the 9, and then y will equal. And what you can do here is you can multiply straight across, or you can cancel a little bit. 9 cancels with 18, goes in twice. 2 times 7, well, negative 2 times 7, so that should be negative 14. Okay. Number 4, what you want to do there is before you do anything, you really want to make this n plus 4, and then it's going to look a little bit better. Those two negatives become a positive. Okay. Some people do this. They change those two negatives like that and make it positive, whatever you want to do. Then we want to get rid of the 4, so we subtract it. So m equals, that cancels out, so 3. M equals 3. Number 5, we want to get the y by itself, so you got to get rid of that 2. It's a positive 2, so we subtract 2 from each side. So 7y equals 42, so y equals 6. We got to divide both sides by 7. So we divide this side by 7, divide that by 7. That's how we get 6. Alright, number 6, we want to solve for x, so subtract 3. That cancels out. We get 5x equals 20, and then divide by 5. And so we get x equals 4. Number 7, the order is real important there. You want to get rid of the plus 7, so first, so you want to subtract 7. So that's a divided by negative 2. This will cancel out, so that would be negative 15. And then we need to get rid of that negative 2, so we're going to multiply. It's being divided, so we multiply. That cancels out, and then a equals negative 15 times negative 2, which is a positive 30. Number 8. On this one, the first thing you want to do is you want to get rid of the 3 on the bottom. It's being divided by 3, so you multiply by 3. Cancels out the 3's, gives you x minus 5 equals 30. And then you want to add 5, so x equals 35. Number 9. Now we have variables on both sides, so we need to get them together. So we want to subtract 4a from each side. If we do that, that'll cancel out. This will be 5a plus 28 equals 3. And then we subtract 28, So we got 5a equals negative 25. And then we divide by 5 on both sides. So we get a is negative 5. Okay? Number 10. We need to get the x's together. So this already says negative x, so let's add the x to both sides. So we add x to both sides, that cancels out. 4 equals, this will be 2x plus 6, subtract 6. 2x equals negative 2, and then divide both sides by 2, and so we get x equals negative 1. Number 11, we want to get the y's together, so that's a minus 2y, so we should add 2y. These are opposites, So we get 6 equals 9y plus 13. Then next step would be to subtract 13. So we subtract 13, that cancels that out. 9y equals negative 7. And then divide both sides by 9. So we divide by 9. We end up with, this cancels out, so we end up with y equals negative 7/9. Okay? Now we get into the distributing, so real important. So number 12, we distribute the 2 to both of the numbers or quantities in the parentheses. So this is 2y minus 12 equals 3y plus 12. We need to get our y's together, so subtract 2y. Subtract 2y. That cancels out, so that's negative 12 equals y plus 12. Now you want to get your y by itself, so subtract 12. So this cancels out. Negative 12 minus 12 is negative 24. That's your final answer. 13, you want to distribute. So you've got negative 3h plus 18. Got to be careful. Negative and a negative is a positive when you multiply. And then we have 10h plus 15. Now we want to get our h's together. So we're going to add 3h plus 3h. So that's 18 equals 13h plus 5. And now you want to subtract 5 because you're trying to get your h by itself. So we got 13h. 18 minus 5 is 13. So I feel like I made a mistake. So hold on a second. Added 3 minus. Oh, you know what I did? I didn't bring this down correctly. So pardon me. Let me back up. Okay. So right here, I still have the 13h plus 15. So now I need to subtract 15. So minus 15, minus 15. And when you subtract those, you get 3. So so far I have 3 equals 13h. And then the last step is to divide by 13. So I have 3 over 13 equals h. Okay, a hard one is 14 here. So you distribute. So we have minus 4p minus 8 plus 8. And then distribute the 2. So that's 2p minus 2 plus 14. Now then you start combining numbers just on the same side of the equation. So these are just numbers. So negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So we have negative 4p equals 2p. And then these are just numbers to combine. So negative 2 plus 14 is positive 12. So now let's try to get our variables together. So how about we subtract 2p from both sides? So that would be negative 6p equals 12. And then the last step is to divide by negative 6. So if you divide by negative 6 on both sides, those will cancel out, and you'll be left with p equals, and on the right hand side you'll have negative 2. 12 divided by negative 6. Okay, find the percent of change. Now, the way that we talk about doing this is that you need to first figure out what's the actual amount of increase or decrease. So you go 60 minus 36, that gives you 24. So this is the amount of increase or decrease right there. And we said you could just take a 24, put it on the top left, and then that goes over your original price, which is 60, and then that equals R over 100. So we solved that, and we got the percent of increase or decrease. Cross multiply. 60R equals 2400 divided by 60. R equals, what do we say, 40%. And that's a 40%, looks like, decrease. Okay. Number 16, figure out what the total cost is after the discount and the tax. Well, we have a purse, it's $90. So what you would do is, and you can just use your calculator or do it by hand, but 90 times 0.20, that is 20% as a decimal. So you just move the decimal place over 2 spots. So that gives you, when you do that, you get 18. So this is your discount. And of course it's a discount, so you subtract it from your price. So 90 minus 18 means the purse only costs $72, but you got to pay tax. So you take your $72 and you multiply by the percent sales tax. So it's an 8% sales tax, so you move the decimal place over 2 spots. So you multiply by 0.08. When you multiply those together, that gives you the tax, and that turns out to be $5.76. And of course, that's your tax. And you have to add that to your price. So we have the $72 plus $5.76. So the final price is $77.76. Okay. Number 17. Solve for x. Okay, this is a proportion, so we solve it by cross multiplying. So that's going to be 5 times 6, which is 30, and this is 3x, and then you can just divide by 3. So x equals 10. Number 18, same thing, cross multiply, except on this one you got to be careful. It's going to be 24, it's 12 times 2. And then it's 3 parentheses y plus 6, because you got to make sure you actually distribute the 3 to both parts. So we have 3y plus 18 equals 24. And then you want to subtract 18. So 3y subtract 18, so you get 6. And then divide by 3. So y equals 2. Number 19, this is a really good one to set up a proportion again. And so Abby can complete 10 problems in 15 minutes. And the question is, how many problems can she complete? So X problems, don't know, in 75 minutes. So you just have to make sure you're consistent. So the minutes are on the bottom, so the minutes are on the bottom here. So on this one, we cross multiply again. So we have 15x equals 75, or 75 times 10, so 750. And then you can divide by 15. And so x equals, how many minutes we got? Let's see. Oops, sorry. So that's 50 problems actually, is what we're looking for here. Alright, sorry, my mind was wandering. Alright. 20. Find 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 63. Obviously you can just kind of guess and try to figure them out, but the structure that we used was this, that x is your first number, the next number is x plus 2 because it's 2 bigger, and then the next one is 2 bigger than that, so that's x plus 4. They add up to be 63. So that's your first number, second number, third number. Now we just solve that equation. So we have x plus x plus x, so we got 3 of them, 3x, plus 2 plus 4, which is 6, equals 63. Subtract 6, 3x equals 57, divide by 3, and you get 19. Now 19 is the first number, so if 19 is the first one, the next consecutive odd integer is 21, and then the next one is 23. Okay. We want to solve for x, the goal, get the x by itself. Alright, so we're looking at this, and we're trying to figure out how to get rid of all this other junk. Alright, so we want to get rid of the 5 on the bottom, so we're going to multiply both sides by 5. Multiply by 5, it's going to cancel out the 5s, so it's going to be ax minus n equals 10. Next thing to do is to get rid of the n. It's a minus n, so we're going to just add n, and that's going to give us ax. This will cancel out because they're opposites. Now this is not 10n, this is 10 plus n. Those are different. One has a letter, one doesn't. They're not considered like terms. The last step is we want to divide by a. Divide by a, that cancels out. So x equals 10 plus n divided by a. That's an a. Okay? 22, we want to solve for y. That's the goal. So we're looking at this. We want to get rid of everything else. So let's get rid of the 4x by subtracting it. So we have 2y equals 6 minus 4x. You can't combine those. They're not the same. One has a number, one has a letter, one doesn't. Then the last step is to divide by 2. So my answer is this, 6 minus 4x divided by 2. Or if you want to simplify that a little bit, you can take the 6 divided by 2 and the 4 divided by 2. So even better answer would be 3 minus 2x. So either one of those I would have taken. Last one, Joe. Poor Joe. Joe made the same mistake that so many people make. Okay? He tried to solve this problem, and when he distributed, he forgot to distribute the negative sign. Negative times a negative is a positive. That's his mistake. He made a negative cell. So we want to solve it correctly for him. So I'll pick it up right here, this step. So the left side was good. He distributed just fine right there. So 8x minus 4 equals negative 10x, and that should have been plus 50. And then now we proceed. So we're going to add 10x, get our x's together, and that's going to cancel out. So that'll be 18x minus 4 equals 50. And then add 4, so that's 18x equals 54. And then divide by 18, so that means that x equals 3. And I think that'll do it. That is 17 minutes. Hopefully that'll help.